Hey, what's going on? And how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday, July 30th? You're in the lounge with Uncle Steve. Please, if you get a chance to push the subscribe button, tell your friends about it. We'll be talking Atlanta Falcons pretty much now to the end of the season as we have just completed the first week of training camp with our Atlanta Falcons. What have we learned from this week of practice? Well, the first thing is thank God, no major injuries. That's one of the things as I look at Ryan Jensen with the Tampa Bay Bucks, and they're talking about how his knee is out. That's a big blow to Tampa Bay. Hopefully, they can overcome that. You hate the team, but you don't want to see players get hurt. And you have to remember this is the first time these guys, even though they weren't supposed to have contact this week, you're doing football moves. You're out there. These are big men with a lot of weight, making sudden stops, running fast. Injuries are going to happen. You just hope they're not catastrophic where they take you out for the rest of the season. But that's the first thing that I have to mention for the Atlanta Falcons coming out the week. No major injuries. A lot has been made of the thought that at this moment, Marcus Mariota has been named the starter from training camp. Now, Arthur Smith did go back and clarify that, this is not saying that Desmond Ritter is completely out of the mix, but it is saying that starting the season, Marcus Mariota is your QB1. And what does that mean? It means you immediately have a veteran at the helm. You have somebody who's played in NFL games. You have the experience, and you may have somebody that may know how to talk to the pros a little bit better. He's been in the game for a while. People keep forgetting he did make the playoffs one year in Tennessee and had two decent seasons, even though his last three as a backup for the Raiders and the year he got replaced by Ryan Tannehill were years that he can forget. But I don't think it's a totally bad thing for him to start off in that position. I think his knowledge of the offense that Arthur Smith is running is going to be a positive for not only him, but for the team. Uh, Desmond Ritter, I am sure, is working overtime to see if he can push Mariota to the brink of supplanting him as that starting quarterback. But for right now, that's where we're going, and I'm fine with it. Offensive line battles, of course, those are the things that we're looking forward to. Arthur Smith did allude to basically saying the two positions that are pretty solid were Jake Matthews and Chris Lindstrom, where everywhere else is a battle. And he went specific as far as the center battle with Hennessy and Dahlman. Who's going to emerge on the left guard? Is Jalen Mayfield going to make that jump, or are you going to have somebody replace him? And Caleb McGarry is going to have to battle this time instead of the position being handed to him at right tackle. And I think that's a good thing. No real news on how the running back battle is going on, aside of him mentioning that he, was going to start with Cordell at the running back position. That's the plan. But as the year may progress, he may end up doing some of the same things he did before. So those of you who are having that dream that he's going to start out on the wide receiver to start over on the slot or something like that, that's just not the case. Arthur Smith said that he definitely plans on starting CP at the running back positions. One of the things that I have heard a lot over the last week when it comes to whether radio station was there or whether Steve Weiss or D-Led or anybody else is they're saying that the defense seems to be communicating better. Now, does that mean that the play will come out just the same on the field? Maybe not, but that they're actually getting a grasp of what Dean Pease is trying to install for the Atlanta Falcons in the 2022 season. There were a lot of times last year where folks looked a little lost out there, and that's a concern, but that was year one. I think all those folks that you bring in from year one going into year two add in a couple of key pieces with AK and Anderson at linebacker and a couple of more folks in there, D'Angelo Malone. And now all of a sudden, you might be building some cohesiveness in that defense. Because let's face it, we can throw 20 touchdowns to Kyle Pitts and Drake London all day long, but if we're not stopping anybody, all of that is a moot point. So I look forward to seeing how that's going to work out. The maturation of Richie Grant, to see if he can climb, to see if Marlon Davidson is going to be ready to actually fulfill the promise of that second round pick we took from him a couple of years ago. His counterpart, his first round pick, AJ Terrell, is already all pro, and Marlon is kind of lacking behind. Maybe that's why he was a second round pick. But either way, we need to see the growth in him this year. We need to see him emerge as a viable option on that defensive line. I know we did make one free agent signing from San Francisco to come in, but obviously if you're making a move this late in July, it's probably somebody who wasn't counted on as being a starter. So those are the things that I saw and heard about this week. Next week, of course, they finally go into the pads. The collective bargaining agreement did not allow them to have contact last week, which is why you saw the little funny helmets on a lot of the players last week, just to be safe. But now the pads come on, and now you're going to really see the hidden start. Again, praying that we don't have injuries. I'm praying that a lot of the league doesn't have injuries, because the one thing you don't want to do is go into a season. I know I hear a lot of people, oh, Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended. Oh, Deshaun Watson is going to be. You don't really want, if your team, I want to see my full team against their full team, and let's go at it. Because what you don't want is, well, if so and so was there, they would have done this. No, I want to go full steam, hopefully with as few injuries as we can going into the week one against New Orleans. Hopefully, we'll grow as a team. And by the time that September 11th game comes at about 1:01, we know our Falcons will be ready to roll. This is your uncle here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Again, if you don't forget, please subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. You can also catch me in an Atlanta Bird Gang on Facebook. Just send me a Facebook request and I'll make sure I get you in there so you can be part of the group, one of the largest and most diverse groups in the Falcon fan forums all around Facebook. Join us there and we'll entertain you just as well. Until then, you guys take care. It's your Uncle Steve. I'm out.